going on, guys? Matt Schaeffer back here with another build for you. This one in a Tesla Model X. Just a warning right off the bat, I forgot my mic, and it's a little windy out here, so sorry if the audio is not the best, but let's get right to it. So the goal of this installation was to keep everything looking 100% factory. We didn't really want to divert away from anything, any functionality in the car. Wanted to still use all of the area that is available. So behind here you have the factory subwoofer enclosure. It is down-firing subwoofer enclosure. We modified that to fit our 10-inch Focal Utopia M subwoofer that you can see here. So we basically kind of cut into the enclosure, remolded the face, and we recessed the subwoofer so there's enough clearance where that HVAC unit is right underneath of it. Underneath this factory floor here, this is your storage cover. When you open it, it looks like it's just a new floor. So this is where the floor sits. This is now the new subfloor. This is a false floor. So if you look there, it looks like nothing has been done. Underneath here, we have our amplifiers. So we have a Mosconi Pro 5 channel. We have a Mosconi Pro 4 channel. 5 channel is Class AB on channels 1 through 4, Class D on the 5th channel. So we have about 700 watts or so available on this 5th channel. We have our 4th channel here, Class AB. This is going to our mid and our tweeter. As you can see when we lift that up, channel 1, 2 tweeter, channel 3, 4 mid. Same thing with this. We have channel 1, 2, which is our rear, channel 3, 4, which is our door, channel 5 is our subwoofer. So everything is labeled, so if anyone ever had to service this, not being me, they know what all these inputs do and are. We have a summing device to free up 2 inputs into our processor. We added our SP2000 Astel and Kern high-res DAP, and that is going to require 2 analog inputs because we are running it analog. We also have a way to run it digital, but this is the analog input from that, and then we have that summing our factory mid and tweeter together to create 1 output, which is going into input 1. Input 3 and 4 on here is our factory mid bass. 5 and 6 is our rear speakers, and obviously 7 and 8, like I just said, is our high-res DAP. So this is our fusing here. Really easy to get to. This is going to be the fusing for both Mosconi Pro amplifiers and our DSP. So yeah, everything going back together. This is going to go right in there, push down, sit flush with it. And also, just as a side note, we don't have to worry about these amps overheating. There's plenty of space for air to move underneath this panel. And the way it's designed is actually, you have additional air moving in here because you have the sub in the back here and it's down firing. We didn't have to make any kind of grill like this. This is a factory design. Even though that we are pushing more power, more air is moving, you know, there's enough ventilation underneath this panel, and it also moves underneath here, that it doesn't rattle anything. So that's the big thing is, you know, we just can't have anything back here rattling because then it'll kill our soundstage. But this sub can put out some serious power without anything back here rattling or resonating. So also when we do that, these panels here come off and there's sound treatment behind all of these different panels. So it's gonna keep the plastic from rattling against each other. All right, so being inside the car now, again, everything still maintains a factory appearance. Nothing looks like it's changed at all. We have our 8-inch Focal Utopia M mid-bass woofers in the door there. Here's a picture without the grill, without the door panel, so you can kind of see how they rest. We made these speaker adapters out of acrylic that bolt right into place. So again, the factory door is not modified whatsoever at all. This factory equipment can drop right back in it if the client did want to sell the car. We're not modifying, we're not cutting, we're not doing anything. This thing fits in here just like the factory woofer did. Here's the picture without the grill so you can see exactly how this woofer sits in the door panel. Absolutely perfectly. The tweeter is here in the pillar. Here's a picture of the tweeter, how it's mounted to the factory location. So we basically built a trim ring that bolts into place, and then we have the tweeter that bolts to the trim ring. So everything, again, sits in the factory location, unobstructed or unmodified. And we have our mids in the dash, okay? So you guys have seen me do a lot of pillars, talking a lot of times about reflections, things of that nature. Obviously, we don't want reflections if we can help it. We don't want to play a speaker directly into a reflective surface. In this case, we have glass. Because at that point, the frequency response is going to change. The EQ is going to be much tougher to nail down with a reflection. When you have a speaker going into a reflection, it's going to do what it does, and there's not a lot of control that we have on our side because of that reflection. So in designing this system, we came up with a few different options for this client. We were going to do Kevlar 3-ways with pillars and not do the Utopia M. But in this case, I kind of urged him. I said, for me, I would rather see you do the factory locations, use the Utopia M, right? Because you're basically spending the same amount of money at that point because you're not doing pillars. And within doing that, you just get a much better speaker. You know, the difference that you're going to hear versus it playing into the glass versus having the pillars with the Kevlar, you know, I think you're going to win every time with the Utopia M. I've done a lot of cars. It still stages well. The biggest downfall is going to be the width. Your width is going to get a little bit narrower when you're playing into the glass versus if you do have these speakers on axis right here. The good thing about the Tesla Model X, it has a very, very wide pillar, so you can actually do the speakers on axis and it still look relatively factory and aesthetically appealing. I will link a video down in the description and also after this video of the same car that we did here, just with the speakers on axis in the pillar, so you can see what that looks like. So check out that video. But in this case, like I said, we got everything tuned. It sounds absolutely terrific. Just finished a demo with the client. Said it was the best sounding, not even the best sounding car, but the best sound experience he's ever had, period. And that's with home systems and everything that he was accustomed to. So it sounds absolutely incredible. I had a lot of people demo this. I had a client drive up from Aberdeen, Maryland to listen to this thing, and you know, he just giggled the whole time. So I think he liked it. So to kind of show you the functionality, we added our DSP controller here, and that's going to do a couple things for us. We have multiple presets for multiple sources that we have. So preset 1, if I hit this here, go to preset 1, that's going to open up our Tesla MCU, right? So all of that is going to run through the factory MCU, and everything is going to work like normal. So in this scenario, we turn the volume all the way up on the processor, and then we would use this like normal, right? So again, nothing's going to change with the factory MCU. You're still going to have your autopilot chimes, your Bluetooth is going to work, all that kind of stuff is going to work, your navigation voice. You're not losing any functionality, period, when you're doing this. Another preset that we have is preset 2. Preset 2 is our ASE 96. So that's basically a high resolution Bluetooth chip that is right here behind the panel. That is going to give us the ability to stream a phone or a player, and in some cases be able to transfer up to 2496 kilohertz. In some cases it's going to be 2448. So it's going to give us the ability to connect our phone to that preset and bypass the factory MCU here. And in doing that, we don't have to worry about, you know, the DAC in here. We don't have to worry about the outputs of this, the summing of everything. So again, we have a much more organic signal in the back, digital signal going right to our processor, full range, 20 to 20,000 hertz signal. It's a beautiful thing. Use this Toslink output going into our processor. So again, that is preset 2. Another cool thing about that is you can actually simultaneously connect your phone to here and the ASE at the same time. So you can choose to play the audio through the ASE while still seeing your album artwork up here. And you can still hit track forward, track back up here. So you can still control it through the MCU, but your audio is going through the ASE 96K. Really cool. And then we have preset 3, which is going to be our high-res player analog input. Okay, so this can connect multiple ways. We can do a digital input into the processor where the processor has the DAC and it's doing the conversion. So a couple things with that is the processor is going to take a digital coax in of 24192. That's going to be its processing power. Through Toslink, it's going to be 2496. So if you had any media on this that's above those sample rates that we're talking about, it's going to be tough for the processor to keep up. It's going to sound like a CD skipping. So with DSD files and things that we have on our player, you know, we can use the DACs of this player, the dual DACs of this player, and we can have that output line out from this going into our processor. So that's how this is set up in this case. And then obviously this is line out, so and then it's a fixed output going to our processor, and then we use this for volume adjustment. So we can play audio from here. Again, analog output. And then that's then gonna take over. Another cool thing that we do is we have a switch down here. So we can flip the switch and it reconnects our center channel to our factory MCU. And what that is going to do is it's going to allow us to hear our turn signals, our autopilot chimes, our navigation, Bluetooth phone calls while we're using this. So we just make sure we're not playing music here, and then we can hear that that voice there on the factory center channel. So it allows you to still have the functionality of the factory MCU while you're using preset 2 and preset 3. In this one, we kept the back speakers factory, so those are unchanged, unadulterated. They're the factory speakers because they're completely irrelevant in this case. They're really going to be high passed over 300 hertz. They're going to be time delayed 8 to 9 milliseconds. So we're basically just creating a sense of space within the vehicle from our front stage in comparison to our rear stage. So we really don't need to spend money there. I'd much rather see that money spent on something that could greatly improve the fronts, our amplifiers, our source signal, things like that. Like always, guys, I really appreciate the feedback, you guys checking these videos out. It's a lot of fun, and I love getting these clients where they really, again, don't know what to expect. They've had great stuff in the past, but I always tell people more times than not, you've never heard what audio can sound like in a car. And I think this was a primal example for this client that, you know, he told me he had no idea what to expect coming into it. But like I always ask, you know, does this exceed your expectations? Is it better than you thought it would be? And of course the answer is always yes, because what people's expectations are for audio is just so crappy in a car. You know, people don't understand what audio can sound like in a car. And, you know, when you sit here and you know the speaker is there, subwoofer in the back, and the subwoofer sounds like it's playing from the front. You can stare at these speakers and swear on your life that they're not playing, because you hear that center image, you hear the whole sound stage of everyone in the band playing in their respective spot. I mean, that's just magical. And, you know, I listen to cars every day, I tune cars every day, and you still can't help but to get goosebumps when you have that feeling, because it's such a very, very cool experience. But again, you know, it's a lot of fun, and I appreciate you guys for checking this stuff out. Check out our website. It's www.musaicdesign.com. When you go there, you can check out all of our builds. You can check it by collection, vehicle type, all that kind of stuff. So you can click on Tesla, see all the Teslas we've done, see all the behind the scenes build pictures. That links to our YouTube videos that we've done on each respective job as well. So if you want to go down the wormhole and see a lot of jobs that we've done, check that out. Also, you can email me. Here's my email below. Here is my phone number. That way you guys can contact me either one of these points to inquire about a potential job, or if you just have questions on a job. So just let me know that. And then obviously follow our social media. We have @TheRealMattyS, we have Sound Effects Home Car, and we have Musaic_design. So all three of these are going to communicate with us through IG. And then with our channel, obviously make sure you subscribe to see more content. Be the first to see that stuff if you hit the bell. That way you get notified when we do release a new video. You know, we have some really exciting stuff coming up, so you're definitely not going to want to miss that. Like always, guys, I really appreciate the time, and until next time.